Thank you for joining us, Dr. Salamat.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to conduct this sleep webinar. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with some introduction about sleep. Why do we sleep? How is it important? And then we are going to go over how to get a good night's sleep. So we have some understanding of how the body and the system work so that we can understand why we are doing certain things to get a good night's sleep. I'm going to start by introduction, like I said, is going over what is sleep, why do we sleep, and how do we fall asleep as well as stay asleep. What are the consequences of not sleeping, and what is a good quality and quantity of sleep. So starting by what is sleep, it is a rapidly reversible state of reduced responsiveness and motor activity as well as metabolism of your body. Most of us spend 1/3 of our life, about 8 hours per night sleeping. It is crucial for our survival, and it is a universal phenomenon across different animal species. It is, like I said, when we are sleeping, the brain is active, but the body is relatively still and quiet. We are not responding to external stimuli. It is a very complex biological process which is important for our physical, mental, as well as emotional well-being because it is restoring our body and our energy while we are in a reduced state of consciousness. So why do we need sleep? Um, it is most important phenomenon which is evolutionary and human beings have developed. It helps with our physical restoration as well as cleaning the brain of different toxins and strengthening our immune system. It helps us with information processing as well as memorization. You can think of it just like these days we restore and recharge our gadgets. Same way it helps us rest and repair our body and recharge our body. So what is happening when we are sleeping? Um, it is vital, like I said, for our survival. It helps restore our energy, repair the body. And for children, it is very important for brain development. The importance of sleep can be gathered from by looking at one of the diseases, which is called fetal familial insomnia. It is very rare, inherited neurodegenerative disorder, where the patients are unable to fall asleep, and it can lead to death within a few years because it results in it results in a lot of different diseases, and patients are not getting enough sleep. It helps with the consolidation of our memory. Mostly, what we do is store our short-term memories into long-term memories, and so that we can gather new information. Especially, it helps repair our muscles and recover from our physical exertion as well. It helps us improve our focus the next day. It is very important for regulating our metabolism and our hunger and cravings. Um, it helps process our emotions and restoration of our immune system. There are different studies and data which show that if you do not get enough sleep and you're vaccinated, the response to vaccination by making antibodies against a certain vaccine is decreased if you do not get enough sleep. So how much sleep do you need? It depends upon your age. Infants, we all know, sleep almost the whole day, 14 to 7 hours of sleep. In the newborns, and 12 to 14 hours in infants. It gradually decreases the sleep requirement as we get older, but still up to 7 to 8 hours is the average sleep a person should be getting, anywhere from above age 18. Teenagers need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and the middle school and the elementary school 9 to 11 hours. So what is normal is it would take up to 30 minutes for us to fall asleep, and that's normal when we go to bed. We do wake up once or twice during the night. That is also normal. Those nighttime awakenings could last up to 30 minutes, which is still in the normal range. As we get older, our deep sleep and dream sleep get less and less. That does not mean we need less amount of sleep. It's just the quality of sleep is poor, but we do need still 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So what happens when we are sleeping? Brain is resting. We go through different stages of sleep, the light sleep, and then we go into deep sleep, and then we go into REM sleep. The light sleep is divided into N1 and N2. It is mostly 50% of the sleep is light sleep. During that stage, we are going to see the heart rate slows down and your breathing slows down. When we go into deep sleep, it helps with memory consolidation and especially with repair of muscles as we secrete different hormones, especially growth hormone. It improves and bolsters our immune system. Brain is active when we go into the next stage of sleep. It is REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, so-called, because if you catch somebody in REM sleep, you would notice they will be moving their eyes fast from side to side. And people are dreaming during that stage of sleep. It helps stabilize the transformed memories, which was done during deep sleep, as well as important for emotional regulation. If we record the brain waves when patients are sleeping, which has been done, and we do it when we take you to the sleep lab, which is called EEG, you would see that patients would go from low level of consciousness to high level of consciousness. Um, uh, it is the brain waves you're going to see are going to go from very fast brain waves to slowing down. And then when we go into REM sleep, when we are dreaming, we become the active again. So stage 1 and stage 2 are light transitional stage of sleep, and then it stabilizes more as we secrete different hormones. And then we start going into dream sleep. You can draw and look at it different ways, and this is what is the typical night of sleep, as it comes in 30 to 60-minute cycles of light, deep, and dream sleep. So how do we sleep? It is not very simple process. It is complex and complicated, where multiple areas of brain are involved. Practically, you have to switch on the sleep center and switch off the awake center. It does involve increasing certain level of neurotransmitters and decreasing certain level of stimulating neurotransmitters. And this just tells you the graph that when we are sleeping, our certain sleepy neurotransmitters, most commonly the GABA and the galanin, and then there is decreased adrenaline and cortisol. All those hormones go down as we go to sleep, and it is secreted by different areas of the brain. So when we are sleeping, there is information that the brain gets from your body as well as your environment, which will determine if we are going to fall asleep or if we are going to stay asleep. Most common things which happen during the night, which gives the brain a clue that it's time to sleep, and the brain will usually set up your bedtime and wake up time and set up your body's internal clock and sync it to the outside clock by getting information from the environment, which means we have less noise, we have no light falling into our eyes, which gives a cue to the brain, it's nighttime, let's go to sleep. You will be having less of mental activity, physical activity. You will cut down eating, drinking, or not taking stimulating either medications or stimulants like caffeine or nicotine. When we are awake, there is more light, which keeps us awake. We are mentally, physically active. We are eating and drinking caffeine most commonly, and those are cues for the brain to keep us awake. Not only do you get different activities giving cues to the brain, but it regulates the hormones as well. So when we are sleeping at night, the melatonin hormone goes up, which is secreted by the brain to help us fall asleep. It helps us fall asleep as well as stay asleep. The exogenous melatonin that we buy over the counter does not help us stay asleep. Our growth hormones and repair hormones go up. Growth hormone goes up to help you repair. There's another hormone called ADH so that we don't feel thirsty and we don't have to go to the bathroom at night. And that is regulated by a hormone. And leptin hormone helps us not feel hungry at night. And the stress hormones, mostly the adrenaline and cortisol, goes down. During the daytime, the opposite happens. All these hormones, which are awake hormones, go up and the sleep hormones go down. So most important hormones, like I mentioned, and the effect it has is, especially these days, we are looking at all these weight reduction medications, is regulated through leptin and ghrelin. When we are not sleeping, our leptin hormone goes down, which makes us hungry. That's why you would see patients who are up all night or who are doing night shift, they feel hungry all the time and they crave for carbs. And the reason is their leptin is down and their ghrelin hormone is going up. And that's where these weight loss medications are working. Another system in our body, besides the simple cues that we are getting from the environment and the body, is something called circadian rhythm disorder, circadian rhythm. What it basically means is you are going to stay awake during certain times of the day and you're going to feel sleepy at night. I mentioned before, it is regulated through melatonin. The longer we are awake, the more sleepy we get. And it is driven through some of the chemicals which accumulate in our brain and makes us sleepy, most commonly adenosine. That's where the caffeine is working. And when we are trying to drink caffeine, the adenosine level goes up, makes you sleepy. But if you're drinking caffeine, it's going to affect this neurotransmitter, so you will feel and stay awake. And the circadian rhythm we talked about was the melatonin, which as the night progresses, it goes up. And when we fall asleep, we stay asleep, the adenosine comes down, the melatonin goes up, and we feel sleepy again. So this is determined by what cues you're giving to the brain and what time. So your body has a 24-hour internal clock. It not only regulates your brain, or it's not only regulated by brain, but every organ of your body has a 24-hour internal clock. That's why when we are traveling, you will feel hungry at odd times. You would feel the need to go to the bathroom at odd hours because of this 24-hour clock. It takes 1 or 2 days, depending upon how far you're traveling. It could be anywhere from 2-3 hours to up to 2-3 days up to 5 to 6 days to accommodate to the new time zone. So this circadian system is what makes us feel awake during the daytime and it makes us sleepy at night. And when it is not synchronized to your outside clock, it can cause either daytime sleepiness or insomnia. And if it is chronic, it can lead to health issues. Like I mentioned, there is not only the internal clock of your brain, but there is every organ of your body has an internal clock. There are specific time of these hormones to be secreted. So you're going to have the highest blood pressure at certain time of the day. and it could be low at a certain time of in the evening. So the temperature, the blood pressure, the time your body secretes melatonin, your reaction time, and your heart, your heart as well as cardiovascular functions and muscle strength is going to be variable throughout the day. So what happens when you don't sleep? Obviously, if you are having high stress hormones and you're not sleeping or you're sleep deprived, every organ of the body is affected. So you're going to have a lot of stress hormones throughout the night. If you're staying up all night, it affects your immunity. It can cause mood disorders or anxiety, depression if it goes on for a long time. Sleep deprivation on a short-term basis, it can cause irritability, anger, and anxiety. And reaction times are slowed. You feel sleepy and tired. It can lead to car accidents. In the long run, and chronic sleep deprivation, so there are certain effects which are acute and which involves mostly short-term memory, reaction time, mood, irritability, and then there are long-term consequences of not sleeping 7 to 8 hours for a long time. And it can lead to diabetes, blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes. It can decrease your immunity, makes you gain weight, you're prone for accidents, and it can lead to, in the long run, dementia and memory problems. So, American Academy of Sleep Medicine did an online survey this summer of 2025, and they looked at why people are not sleeping well, and some of the complaints that people have, 78% reported financial worries causing poor sleep, 65% worried about their work, 61% crime and violence, 56% about job. And then this was interesting, which was new about the political concerns, up from 46% from previous years. Another important shift we have seen over the last few years, which has affected all groups and ages, is the social media and the device usage, especially the younger adults and even the older retired patients are, or people are having this issue because of loneliness. They are using more and more devices. So it's a staggering number. 93% of Gen Z reported losing their sleep, and they stayed up past their bedtime, and they were spending most of their time on social media from ages 18 to 25. It's like a rabbit hole of viral videos, TikToks, memes, and reels, and it's keeping the young minds buzzing at night. It is affecting their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It is also affecting the performance in their school and extracurricular activities. It has gotten worse since the pandemic. The sleep deprivation reportedly increased in high school students 78%, in children 34%, which affected their and had a negative effect or impact on their daily routines, sleep-wake schedules, their physical activities, and the time they're spending on screens. So another reason for poor sleep is our 24/7 society and culture. Some of it is necessary, and some of it is the new demands at work as well as the lifestyle. We see jet lag, shift work. There is also insomnia related to these disorders. And there is something called phase delayed circadian rhythm disorder, which is basically your kind of night owl. Your bedtime is delayed, your wake up time is delayed compared to normal. As we get older, there is a normal shift that we become larks, or we fall asleep or feel sleepy earlier in the evening, and we wake up early earlier in the morning. That's a normal age shift. Obviously, when both of these conditions become abnormal, then patients do come up and they seek healthcare, or they want to see a physician to get some help. The phase delayed is also being a night owl is common stage transition, and it's more common in teenagers. But once it becomes extreme, then the teenagers need help. They start having problems in high school or colleges. The reason for becoming a night owl is they have a growth spurt and they have different social obligations, so they become night owls. And now the device is they stay up late. The jet lag traveling is more common now. Shift work, we are having most people doing swing shifts or night shifts, which is affecting their sleep. There's a new thing which has been called a social jet lag. What it is people are changing their bedtime and wake up time. And when it goes to extreme on the weekends mostly, this is called social jet lag. What it means is people are staying up late at night. They could be outside. There is like a binge TV watching these days. They stay up late, then they wake up late on the Friday and the Saturday. And by that time, your internal clock starts shifting. And on Sunday, they have difficulty falling asleep. They cannot fall asleep. And then Monday, they feel really tired because their bedtime, they cannot go back to their usual bedtime. For example, if they're sleeping at 10 on the weekdays or 11, and they're up until 1 or 2 on the weekends, on Sunday, they are not able to fall asleep earlier because their internal clock has shifted. They are up until 2 and they have to wake up for work at 7 or 8, and they are sleep deprived, as well as they have a jet lag effect, and it causes them to be sleepy and tired and affects their work on Mondays and Tuesday. By Wednesday, Thursday, they feel better, and here comes the weekend again. It's the common analogy or a short jet lag we can talk about is it's like you're flying to California on the weekend and coming back to New Jersey time, and that is going to affect your sleep as well as performance during the daytime. So also we have seen that 80% of the population is having not only insomnia, but they are now sleep deprived, and which is causing problems, especially in all age groups, especially in adolescents, is like a health problems, diabetes, blood pressure, depression and anxiety with chronic lack of sleep. It is affecting their memory, focus, concentration, ADHD-like symptoms. So it's a big problem, even in adults. So then there is anxiety, which is developing because of the social media. It causes sleep disruption. Anxiety causes insomnia and sleep deprivation, which adds to the problem. So there is a lot of data coming out, and there's a lot of problems in the adolescents. They're having problems in attention, memory, learning problems. It is affecting their sports. If they are sleep deprived, it is affecting their performance in different games and competitive games also. If they are sleep deprived, they're feeling depressed, but if they are getting enough hours of sleep, they would have more optimistic attitude towards life, and their weight issues and decision making are all effective. So what are we doing, and how are we coping with all this new problems, or with the social media as well as device usage? We are seeing that it has gotten worse. There are certain numbers that were recently coming out, and you can see in average US adult is spending 3.5 hours on social media, 74% before bedtime. The binge TV watching has increased 88%. 73% are reporting usage of YouTube, 55% Facebook. And it is affecting our sleep. So what can we do for our sleep hygiene? I wanted to bring out this issue about devices. It's very important that along with other key things that we do for our sleep hygiene to improve our sleep, we need to avoid having variable bedtime and wake up time as much as possible. On the weekends, even if you do stay up late or go out, you should try not to sleep in because it will shift your it will shift your internal clock and would have more problems reversing back to and cause the social jet lag. Um, Exercise during the daytime, should not do heavy exercise at night. Like I mentioned, it secretes a lot of adrenaline, cortisol. It takes 4 hours for the levels to come down. So within 4 hours of bedtime, you should not do any heavy exercise. Try to make your bedroom and bed relaxing. Only go to the bedroom for sleeping. Do not use it for any other activities like watching TV or using your phone or reading. All of this should be not be done within 1 or 2 hours of sleep time. As long as you can stay away from it, the longer the better. And you should not be doing these activities in bed. Taking a warm shower helps you fall asleep by decreasing your body temperature. Comfortable temperature of the bedroom helps with sleep. Should not try to eat a heavy meal, but do not go to bed empty stomach that you cannot fall asleep. If you really feel hungry, you can eat a snack, but avoid any heavy meals. Like I mentioned, don't watch TV in bed, and you should not be napping in the afternoon. It will interfere with, again, your internal circadian clock, and if you sleep at odd hours, the brain kind of thinks it as a cue that you're traveling. So if you're taking a nap in the afternoon, the brain would try to shift or adjust your internal clock. Do not drink any caffeine or alcohol or stimulants close to bedtime. And the alcohol, some people start using it to help them fall asleep. It does help you fall asleep by maybe relaxing you, but it is metabolized by your liver and it releases certain metabolites of the alcohol actually cause insomnia. So it will disrupt your sleep. So limit just to summarize, limit your caffeine, alcohol, limit the nicotine. Again, smoking and nicotine should be avoided. Especially close to bedtime. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, depending upon your metabolism. Even if you're able to fall asleep because you're chronically sleep deprived, people say I can drink caffeine and fall asleep. Likely you're sleep deprived, that's why you would still fall asleep, but it will prevent you from going into deep or dream sleep. You should limit your nicotine also, again, has a half-life of 7 to 8 hours. There are caffeine and nicotine receptors in your brain. The max limit for caffeine is maximum is 400. After that, it will not keep you up. Nicotine receptors, the metabolism is again anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 hours, depending upon slow metabolism or fast metabolism. It will wake you up and not let you go into sleep. And limit the noise if you need the bedroom to be comfortable. Not have any nighttime noise. People are using a lot of audiobooks and podcasts. If you need a noise to help you sleep, it should be a same frequency white noise machine rather than listening to audio or radio or TV or having the TV running on. It's better to have a white noise machine. Um, and you should be familiar with the caffeine levels. You can see that, decaf has still 3 milligrams of caffeine, and avoiding these drinks, the green tea and the hot chocolate. Sometimes people think it does not have caffeine. It does have quite a bit of caffeine. Again, it will wake you up. And avoid heavy exercise, avoid doing computer work or any um, physical activity or mental activity which is stimulating to your body or your brain. So if you're playing the video games, or if you're doing word puzzles, those are going to be very stimulating. And so avoid doing these kind of activities. You want to have a comfortable environment and unwinding time, not stimulating your brain. You need a lot of mental alertness to especially do the word puzzles or play the games to make yourself tired. It will actually backfire. So AASM has some tips. What they talked about is to avoid the social media. You need to disconnect from the devices, leave your phones in another room. And most people say, "Oh, I have an alarm set up," so but just buy a simple alarm clock and use that. Avoid or turn off the push notifications at night. People have developed the habit of waking up in the middle of the night. If you can't sleep, they pick up their phone, start emailing, start using or looking at the notifications. So it's very difficult to avoid these things. So that's why if you want, the more you set these things on auto, the better it is going to be. You should have the apps have limits on how long you should be using these apps. So you need to learn and set those limits and have a good sleep schedule. So turning gears, there are certain sleep disorders which needs to be looked at if you have certain signs and symptoms. And to improve your sleep, you should be evaluated and treated. Most common sleep disorders are one of the most common sleep disorders is obstructive sleep apnea. It's very common in men, up to 40%. If somebody is snoring, they're sleepy during the daytime, and the bed partner has noticed them stop breathing, they should be evaluated. It will cause problems staying asleep. Women are mostly overlooked, but they are mostly postmenopausal women would have obstructive sleep apnea. It does present as insomnia in women, whereas in men it presents as sleepiness and tiredness. So what else can affect your sleep? Insomnia, for whatever the reason might be, PTSD, anxiety, medications or health issues that needs to be evaluated and treated so you can get 7-8 hours of sleep. Restless leg syndrome and nightmares disorder. There are also other common sleep disorders which needs to be evaluated if you're having a poor sleep and treated. I went over these things about most of these are related to sleep apnea as well as chronic sleep deprivation. If you're not getting enough hours of sleep for whatever reason, whether you're restricting your sleep, you are going to see any of these symptoms. Morning headaches, daytime sleepiness, concentration problems, irritability, mood irritability, and feeling sleepy and tired during the daytime. For men, if you have sleep apnea, going to the bathroom frequently at night, if you're not drinking enough water at night, which you should not be doing at night, and having restless sleep, gasping for air, and somebody noticing that you stop breathing with loud snoring, these are signs and symptoms of sleep apnea. Again, there are certain simple screening questionnaires for sleep apnea. If you're snoring, you're tired, it's called stop bang. We can do that. Blood pressure, and if you are overweight or BMI is more than 35, age more than 50, it's more common, and neck circumference more than 17 inches in men, 16 in women. In men, it is more common. People are worried about doing the sleep studies, going to the sleep lab. It's very simple now. You can have a home sleep testing. It can even be mailed to you. You do not have to come to the or go to the sleep lab unless there is a specific reason, somebody who has a really severe heart disease, neurological issues, or respiratory issues. Only then you would need in-lab sleep testing. So if you're having insomnia and you are unable to get enough hours of sleep, that would also cause, and then you're having issues falling asleep as well as staying asleep. The longer it goes on, the worse it gets. People start having negative associations of the bed and bedroom as well as sleep. And the more you get frustrated the more you wake up. So it needs to be evaluated and treated earlier, the better. Otherwise, it becomes chronic insomnia, and then it can again lead to different health issues. So some of the things that we talk about while treating the insomnia are relevant for getting a good night's sleep is you do not want to stay in bed getting frustrated and having all these negative, oh my God, thoughts about not sleeping. You should not use your bed for as an entertainment center. Like I mentioned before, do not do any activities. The bedroom and the bed should only be for sleeping. Do not read in bed, watching TV, using phone, all these things, and there should be no TV or noise or anything in the bedroom. If you are unable to fall asleep within 5 to 10 minutes, instead of staying in bed and getting frustrated, which will wake you up more, you leave the bedroom and some deep breathing meditation and come back, and it will help you go back to sleep initially as well as in the middle of the night. So you should have an unwinding time. Try to keep bedtime and wake up time as regular as possible. Avoid any naps in the afternoon, like I mentioned before. Um, and just educate yourself what is a normal sleep. Most people would consider and worry about they're not getting enough 7 or 8 hours of sleep. What is a normal sleep for me? That's a common question patients ask. So, average person would need 7 or 8 hours of sleep. What hours keeps you functioning in the morning at your optimal? That's the amount of sleep you need. There is genetic variation. There are very few people who are what we call as short sleepers, which means you are functioning optimally with 5 hours of sleep. Those are short sleeper. And there are people who would need 8 or 9 hours of sleep for optimal functioning the next day. Those are long sleepers. Most of the patients this is like an extreme, and most of the patients would fall like a bell curve in the middle, somewhere 7, 8 hours of sleep. So you would be able to figure out what is the amount of sleep you need. The sleep which gives you optimal functioning the next day, that's the normal sleep for you. If you're having insomnia, we try to educate patients about not spending too much time either in the morning or at night when you go to bed, or in the middle of the night. Do not stay in bed and do not start looking at the clock, and it makes you anxious. So if you are unable to fall asleep, so have an unwinding time before you go to bed, which could involve deep breathing, meditation, no electronics, and some mindless activity. You do not want, like I mentioned, anything which is needing mental alertness, like playing video games or playing word puzzles. It will make you more alert. You have to be really alert to do those things. Um, so exercises or relaxation therapies, abdominal breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or guided imagery, think of your happy place, doing some meditation before you go to sleep also is helpful. Um, so these are some of the techniques if somebody has having insomnia. That's what this is a 4 to 6 week course to help you feel better, breathe better, and including all these other things that I mentioned was these are called stimulus control, sleep restriction, relaxation. These are part of cognitive behavioral therapy, which can be done by yourself. Now we have online courses, or it can be done by a therapist. Just because there's a shortage of therapists now, there are some online programs which are pretty good, which are still helpful. These are some of the books which were written by sleep therapists, which would help you either if you're having insomnia or to help you guide and sleep better, educate yourself so that you're able to improve your sleep hygiene and get a good night's sleep. So I would end my presentation here. And if you have any questions, and this is like an old saying, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's absolutely true. All the new research and data which is coming, it's showing that 7 to 8 hours of sleep, mostly at night, not the daytime sleep or not staying up late, is the healthiest. You are less prone for all these chronic illnesses, including diabetes, blood pressure, heart attack, or strokes. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Salamat. So at this time, I'd like to invite anyone to ask any questions. Please put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So question number one, Dr. Salamat, do afternoon naps count to reach the 7 to 8 hours a day target, or does only continuous sleep count?
Mostly, we would like you to have a continuous sleep and preferably at night. If you are napping because you did not get a 7, 8 hours of sleep at night, that's what most of the patients do. Or if you have a sleep disorder, or if you're taking some medications that can make you, and again, jet lag, sometimes people would have the initial period. Uh, the ideal would be 7 to 8 hours at night, continuous.
Great. So the next question is about deep sleep. Is deep sleep important? How do I promote deep sleep? And this person rarely gets more than an hour of deep sleep. So that's why they're asking the question.
Right. So it is very hard for us to control our sleep when we are sleeping. It's very difficult to tell if you're getting enough hours of deep sleep or not. And these sleep trackers that we have, some of them are okay, but they're not very accurate at getting and letting you know if you're getting enough deep or dream sleep for that matter. Some of them are tracking deep sleep as well as dream. If you're getting 4 hours, that is not enough sleep, and you should ideally be getting, like I mentioned, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're having multiple awakenings during the night, you start your cycle again. So you're going to get deep and dream and deep sleep cycles. And if you are waking up multiple times, you're not going to get enough deep sleep. Again, how you know you're not getting enough deep sleep is by the daytime functioning. If you're functioning well and you're getting 5, 6 hours of sleep, you might be short sleeper. Um, there, by promoting the sleep hygiene things that we discussed, um, your brain will determine and you will be able to get deep sleep, enough deep sleep. Again, it's by daytime functioning and it causes memory and it helps with memory consolidation.
Thank you. Next question. What is your professional opinion on daylight savings time? It seems that there are health risks associated with change of time.
Absolutely. I think has been a long debate. American Academy of Sleep Medicine has multiple times over the last few years um, reached out to lawmakers and persuading them to do the to get away with the daylight saving times. We have a data that it causes, sleep disruption, prone for accident. So the AASM stance is we should not have it. But unfortunately, the problem becomes when you're dealing with East Coast and West Coast. The arguments come, if you're getting away with it, or there will be 11 o'clock. Sometimes the patients or especially the kids and the children, they're going to be up. That's why they have not reached a consensus, but ASM has been trying for the last few years, and their stance is that we should not have